Hello friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to Throwback Thursday. This is a weekly series that I do here on my YouTube channel where I reach back into my stash of older or retired papers and we make something fresh and new together. These are designed to inspire you to get into the papers you already have. So all this year in 2023, we are making a banner of the month using Graphic 45's Time to Flourish collection. And it is time for us to do our June banner, which is going to be gorgeous. So I've already cut up my papers, but you're going to need the 8x8 and the 12x12, both the cut apart and the Flourish papers. So this month we're making like a more traditional pennant style banner, and I used a stitched banner die to make this pink layer, and I'll link to those dies in the description box below. And I traced the inside of each die, so you can see I have smaller pennants and larger pennants, and then hand cut this layer, stitched it onto the pink, and then stitched it onto a blue, and then this canvas, fringed canvas background. So it ends up making a really pretty shabby chic look. This is light blue crushed, silky crush ribbon, topped with beautiful lace from Rene Bouquets, and I will link to all of these products in the description box. So I use binder clips. What I do, because I always try to do an odd number, so there's 7. So I find the middle of my ribbon and I fold it, and then I put my pennant, I stitch the pennants first, then I put it on that center point and secure it with a binder clip, just a simple binder clip. And then I space evenly between, using a binder clip to hold everything in place, and I stitch it on my sewing machine along the bottom and along the top. And this way your banners don't do that weird little flip thing that they do. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to set up, and we're going to start by decorating our central focal banner. So don't go away, we'll be right back. On each of our pennants, I've cut a piece of the 12x12 or the 8x8 border strip, and those are going to get glued down first. This is just going to provide like a little visual break from all these heavily patterned papers, which are beautiful. So I'm going to put this in the center panel, and the reason I like to do the focal first is that it kind of sets the tone for the entire banner. And now I have cut from the 8x8 this sweet little image with the bird nest in the corner, and I'm going to tuck this up under my lace and center this down. And then I went into my stash of Rene Bouquet goodies, and I found this precious little blue bird with the cherry blossom wreath, and it's such a perfect match that I decided to turn it into a shaker element. So I die cut a circle just with a circle die that seemed to be about the right size. Used my Dries Clear adhesive to glue that circle to the back of the beautiful board base, and then added 3 rows of scrapbook.com 1/8 inch foam tape. And this is going to hold everything in place. So for our shaker mix, I've got a couple of different shaker mixes from Buttons Galore and More, and these might be retired, but they have a huge selection, so just go ahead and look. I'm mixing pinks and blues, and I'm putting these in the center, whoops, of my image. So just in case you have these in your stash, This one's called Rose Blush, and these are the ones that come in the little nail polish bottles, which I don't think they do anymore, but I've been a fan of Buttons Galore more for years, so I have a bunch of their older stuff. And Aqua Dreams. So those are the two. So now that I have this, I'm going to push those into the center. I'm going to line up my little bird where I want it to be. And I'm going to press it into place. Okay. And that takes care of this center pennant. And now we have a shaker element in the center, which is so fun and so pretty. Also, you'll want to put 3 layers of foam tape behind this little cluster of flowers that the bird is pulling the ribbon on. So that takes care of that banner. So now we're going to do the 2 smaller panels on either side of our center panel. And I've die cut Annette Green's small doilies from Elizabeth Craft Designs. This is part of her Everything's Blooming. And we're going to put these down like little frames. And what I've done is a little cheater. Here's my border, but I ran out. So all you're going to really see is the outside edges of this. So I just took the little scraps that were left and cut them into little pieces to fit. And I use my ruler to make sure I'm lined up in the same spot on each side. And I'm straight. Okay. This image is from the 12 by 12. I'm going to place my doily over the image like it's a frame. I'm not going to worry about trimming out the corners because by the time we add flowers and all the other things we're going to add, you won't notice that so much. And it just makes it a lot easier to do. All right, so now we're just going to glue this down. And it's going to go right here. Then from the 8 by 8, I cut out this little tag and backed it with foam strips. And this is going to go right here. Oh, I had a little brad to put in there and I forgot. Hold on. I've got these sweet little rose brads that I found in my stash. I don't even know where these came from or how long I've had them. I just went looking, and because of all the roses and stuff, I thought these would be a good fit here. And that's kind of the point of Throwback Thursday. Get into your stash. Look for goodies that have been hanging around for kind of a long time and put them to good use. All right, there we go. And then also from the 8 by 8, I staggered these 2 little postage stamps together, and we're going to snug those in right there. And I think I'm going to put a little piece of foam tape down on the end of this tag as well. I wasn't sure where I was going to place it, but that looks better to me. And I'll probably come back and add some sort of a little bow or something there. So to the left, I'm just going to pull this over so you can see, set up the same way. I have our border piece. This is a whole one. Oops. No, this goes over here. This one is scraps of the 8 by 8. So we're going to do that same little trick. That's my trash truck going by. Then we're going to take our doily and put it down. Like this. So see how these two doilies match? And then these two doilies that are on the end will be different patterns. But I try to create symmetry within these designs. So have this chipboard piece that I've put a little rose thing through. Brad, that's the word, Kathy. It's called a brad. And I'm going to line this little cut apart from the 8x8. I'm going to put some foam tape on the back to give this a little bit of dimension. See how pretty this is sitting right in there? I love that. That looks really good. So there's that one. Let me set up for the next one. So now we're next to the left-hand side, this next big pennant. These are Renee Bouquet's April in Paris doilies. I absolutely love these. I believe these are the small. And I've heat embossed these with Stampendous Shabby Pink embossing powder. And we're going to put this down. This is beautiful embossing powder. It has little flecks of gold in it. Sometimes it's a little hard to find. I don't know if Stampendous has stopped making it. Sometimes you can find it under the name Frantage, F-R-A-N-T-A-G-E. For a while, Spellbinders was having it. I will look for it and link in the description below my blog post, and then put the link to my blog post in the description box. So I'm going to glue this down right here. And then I kind of wanted to go with this really sweet nature theme. So I die cut some of Annette's little birds, and these are just super simple. I did not go high tech. These are just almost like silhouettes. I didn't do the eyes or any of the things like that. These are almost silhouettes, but they're very, very sweet. And I like the way they look with this particular banner because they're very summery. You can see I die cut these from scraps of our designer paper. First I did just a 110-pound cardstock and then layered the designer paper over the top. And even just like a little silhouette, they're very, very sweet. I moved the camera and brought it in a little closer so you can see details here. So what I want to do is create the illusion that this little bird is resting on a branch. So I've gone into my little birdie flowers, and I pulled out some pinks and blues that I thought would work well. I dry brushed this leaf with just chalk paint. I clustered together this little grouping of flowers. We're going to lay that down right there. And now I'm coming in with my little bird. Okay. I'm going to put a good bit of hot glue right here so that that little bird will stay where he's supposed to go. And I'm going to tuck him or her right into this little cluster that we've created. And then, just to add a little texture, I pulled some feathers from my stash of feathers, and we're going to slip those in there as well. Isn't that sweet? And then from the sticker sheet, there's a shaped frame that looks like it's supposed to go with June. And I just pulled the center out of that frame to go right there. And I'm just pressing this sweet little bird silhouette in to make sure that it stays where it's supposed to stay. So that's that pennant. Do you see how you just kind of build your layers, and each little thing that you add adds another little bit of fun. So now we're going to come all the way over to this side, and this is going to be the mirror image for that banner. Okay, so we've got our doily down. I had to lift mine and put my little border strip behind it. Now we're going to build our little floral cluster, and we want this one to be facing the opposite direction as the first one. So our leaves are going to go down here. And then I've created another little cluster of flowers. It's going to look like a branch. And here's our sweet little bird. These are precious. I love them done just like a silhouette. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about that, but I really like it. So then we want our little feathers. I've got a couple of little feathers. There we go. The feathers really add to the shabby chic vibe. It's so fun. And then I don't have another circular element to go back behind this. So what I've done is I've taken a sort of flattish round flower, and I'm going to tuck this back behind. And then I have these little postage stamps from the 8x8 that I'm going to tuck like that to mimic that circular time to flourish greeting. So that's that pennant. Now we're going to work on this last pennant on the right. Let me just pull this in so you can see. All right. And I've already put my border strip down. I've already glued down Annette's doily. Then I went into my stash and I found these darling itty bitty mason jars from Rene Bouquets. I wrapped the collar with 2 colors of baker's twine, tied a little bow, topped it with a bitty button. And now we've got foam adhesive on the back. I'm also going to add hot glue just to make sure. I'm going to put this in at a slight angle. Let me see, I think I want it to go this way actually. All right. Behind it, I've got these postage stamps from the 12x12, and these are going to tuck in behind it like that. Then I've got this precious little fairy from Rene Bouquets, and we're going to glue her partially onto the jar. And then I've got this little title strip from the 12x12 that says summer. And I'm going to press that down right there. So that's that one. So we're just going to repeat the same process down here. Here's my other little jar. And the way I got the inside on these was I just traced around the outside of the jar onto my patterned paper. And then I cut in about 1/8 of an inch all the way around those pencil lines so that I knew that the little image would fit in my mason jar. So in case you were wondering how I did that, good old tracing with a pencil. So this one is going to tip this way, right? Yes, the opposite of the other one. Here's our postage stamps. And then this time I have a little butterfly. This is one of her beautiful board butterflies. And he's going to go right here, and I'll snug some foam tape back behind there. And then I have this little title piece. This is First Day of Summer. And that's going to go right there. All right, so now these are all decorated. Now we can add flowers and bows and all of those things. All right, now we can start adding our bows. So I've cut a 2-foot length of this pretty Swiss dot grosgrain ribbon, and I've tied it, just a simple, not even a knot. I've just tied it around, and then I've made my streamer ends go the direction that I want them to go. And then I tied this light blue delicate stitch satin bow, and I'm going to put it right on top of that knot, and I'm going to adjust everything before that glue sets up so that I know my streamers are going the way I want them to go and everything is where I want it to be. I want that little tiny bit of lace to peek out. We may see it, we may not, but I'm just adjusting. All right. Then I tied a iridescent metallic string bow to go on top of this blue. And the wonderful thing about this iridescent metallic string is that it picks up on whatever colors you're working with. So you're going to have your pink in there, you're going to have your blues in there. It's going to be very, very beautiful. Then I want to add some little leaves. And these are little birdie. I'm just going to tuck those in there. These are their Rosalind flowers. And then I want a little pink rosebud. To tuck in. Actually, let's do it this way. Yeah, that's nice. And I'm going to take this pink flower and I'm just kind of squashing it up. That's a technical term. And I want it to fit in right here, like that. And let's see. Maybe another little bud to go in there. So I'll just show you this part. I'm tucking my ribbon underneath and I'm making sure my ends are fairly even. And then I'm just bringing the right side up. And if you have more of this blue silky crush, make your tails longer. It's so pretty. This was all I had, and so I went this way. All right. So see, then I just kind of move it around until it looks how I want it to look. And I've got one tail that's a lot longer than the other. I may trim that or I may leave it. I kind of like, for like a shabby chic project like this, I kind of like the ribbon tails, not perfect. But I'll see once I hang it on the wall. That's how I know. And a lot of you ask me, how do you hang these on the wall? Someone suggested picture hooks, which is a really good idea. I put O-rings through the ribbon loop on the back, and then I just either use clothespins or you can use a push pin, and they'll hang nicely. So, and if you're going to hang them in the same spot every month, you don't have to worry about holes in your wall or anything. Here's our big rose This is so pretty. Take this flower and squash it. And maybe this other shade of pink. All right, so there's that. All right, so now I'm just adding some little detail and like grace notes to this. Over here, I've just put a little cluster of sweetheart blossoms with a tiny little bow. Over here, I tucked a little bow underneath our flower cluster. And then on this pennant, I'm going to take this gorgeous Renee Bouquet's butterfly. This is one of her premium glitter glass butterflies, and I'm going to add it right here. And that's all I'm going to do because that's gorgeous, and I don't think it needs anything else. So in the center, I'm leaving it exactly like it is. I thought about adding some flowers, but honestly, this is so pretty. I just want to leave it. So over here, where we've got our sunshine pennant, I've got another, whoops, before I do the Renee Bouquet's butterfly, I want to put this pink floral down, like that. Then I have a couple of little bobs from the Little Birdie stash, and then another Renee Bouquet's butterfly from this same set. And I don't know the name of this set off the top of my head, but I will make sure that I list it. I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's take those out of there. Let's put that butterfly right there. And I think where I actually want these is tucked in here. And maybe even over to the side, so our sunshine shows. Yeah, that is good. That I'm pleased with. That looks good. Okay. And then I'm going to tuck a little bow. I'll come back and clean up all this glue mess when I'm finished. Right in there. Pretty, pretty. All right, then I've got a little bow to go in with my flower cluster here. Pretty. All right, and then we're down here on this last one. And I think I'm going to go ahead and bring in my sweetheart blossoms so that it, so that everything is, so there's symmetry. All right. So what I do is I leave a little bit of a tail on, and then I twist them together to form like a little nosegay. And I need to tie a bow. So I added another little flower cluster here with a bow, and then I decided I wanted something underneath our little, I think her name is Lissy. I think that's what Renee named her. So I've got another little bow. Whoops. There's my scissors. Because that glue is hot, people. Okay, there we go. Pretty, pretty. Okay, that. And I added a few little flowers under our postcards. That's a little change I made. I'm going to add a little bow right here. This is so sweet and pretty. Really like this one. Then I was trying to decide. Yes, I do. I'm going to make one more cluster of little flowers to go in this little space here. And then we're going to be done. So see, I just bundle them together like a little bouquet. And I take one of the wires, wrap it around the other two. Now you can arrange them the way you want them. I'm going to trim the tails off the wires. I'm going to tuck these in right here like this. Isn't that pretty? And I have one more little wee bow. Now a lot of times what I do is I hang this up and I look at it and I see if I need to add anything, change anything, balance anything out. It's easier to tell that when it's hanging up. It's a little bit hard when it's laid out on your desk. Oh yeah, I had one other thing I wanted to do. I found this little gold crown. Isn't that precious? So, because these don't typically, I'm going to think how to do this. Typically, these don't glue down real well. Like you could put, what I'm trying to say is hot glue doesn't work well with these. So I'm going to place my dries clear adhesive on this. I'm going to set it right there. Isn't that pretty? And I just rubbed this with a little bit of metallic wax. All right, guys, there's June. Time to flourish. I don't think there's anything else I want to add. I'm pretty happy with this. It's quite lovely. I know it's probably hard to see online because you can't see the full thing, but the full effect is really nice. I'll try to get a good picture. I love making banners, but man, are they hard to photograph, especially if you're not a super duper photographer, which I am not. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me. This is Throwback Thursday, June banner time. And I'm going to clean up this mess. That'll take a while and go get my craft done. Bye, guys.